Welcome to another edition of Two Steps Ahead podcast. In life, there's the next right step, and then there's dog poop. We've stepped in both. She's probably stepped in more poop than me. I don't know. No, but so we're here highlighting the stuff we've stepped in so you don't have to, maybe avoiding the landmines and picking up a few things of the success, the right step way, hopefully. And on this episode, we're going to actually talk about Thanksgiving, thankfulness, not necessarily the holiday, but we're going to actually talk about just what it means to be thankful. What is gratitude? How can it help us? How can it help us with our health and our well-being? So that's kind of the theme of the show here, and we hope you join us for the entire show because you never know what's going to happen. I'm Son Edom alongside somebody who is really craving a bowl of clam chowder.
Yes, I am.
Tara Hochiro. Hey, so we get clam chowder. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, guys.
There you go. Yeah, hey, guys. So when you eat clam chowder, do you get it in the sourdough bread basket thing?
If possible, yes. Yeah. Yes, that's the best.
Do you, if not, do you get those little, like, clam-looking crackers?
Both.
Oh, you put them both. You put the crackers in the bread bowl.
Yeah, don't you?
Chowder. I don't think I do. I think that's too much bread.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
So if you get it in the bowl, then you have the crackers, and then if you have the bread, no, I like the crunchy cracker.
Yeah, I get that.
Yep.
Because usually when I get the bread bowl, they give you the top on the side.
Oh, see, yeah.
So then I dip that.
Yeah.
And have that.
Bread is just fabulous with dinner. It's so unhealthy, but it's so good.
And then when you're done with the clam chowder in the bread bowl,
yep.
Do you consume the bread?
Not always, no. Sometimes I take it home for later, but not always.
I'll try to scrape out as much of the bread bowl bread.
Yep.
And then I'll leave the rest.
Yep.
Because I figured let somebody wash it.
Watch it out for the next person.
Watch out for the next one.
The bread bowl.
Yeah. Favorite. Okay, so we're here at the Santa Monica Pier. Last time you were with us, we were at the Hollywood sign. Now at the iconic Santa Monica Pier, which actually, in case you did not know, is two piers together.
Yes.
Talk about peer pressure. And the first pier, which is the long one that if you go to your Google Maps, if you're not familiar with the pier, maybe you're listening in another country, another state, and you've never been, you'll see that the pier extends actually into the ocean. That's a pier. But the part that actually extends into the ocean was at one time the municipal pier, which started was built in 1909. And the purpose was to extend sewage pipes beyond the breakwaters or the breakers. And then when I did some further investigating, the information was scrubbed off the history. So I'm not really sure what that means.
They don't want us to know that that's what was.
But it was a municipal.
Going on.
Yes, it was a municipal pier for municipal purposes. And then the second pier, which is adjacent, side by side. So if you're looking on the camera, it's side by side. So they sit side by side. It's shorter pier, the second one. That was the Pleasure Pier, as they called it, or the Newberry Pier, or something like that. And it started in 1916. It was built in 1916. And the purpose of that was to, what it is now, have amusement, attractions, things like that. And so one of the, I guess, more iconic pieces of the pier is the carousel, which has 44 hand-carved wooden pieces of horses that go up and down and around in a big circle. Have you ridden it?
No, I've not ridden the carousel.
Oh, it's so fun.
No.
I think it was. I think there was an original carousel, and then I think in the 20s they replaced it with the current carousel from a different company,
right?
Which was actually a toboggan company. And then they added the roller coaster and the Ferris wheel and the arcade games, not video arcade, but actual, like, where you throw the ball and you knock down the milk jugs and you win a prize, or you shoot the water pistol into the mouth of the clown and pop the balloon. Ring toss, those type of things.
All the old fun games.
And so all that's on there. And then there's some cool food places. Talking about clam chowder, Seaside by the Pier is a restaurant that has...
Great place.
That's actually has the nachos. Seaside by the Pier actually has really good nachos. It's the Albright that has the really good clam chowder.
Clam chowder, yeah. It's a great place. They have great fries. Everything is so good.
And then there's a restaurant you mentioned. I think it's called Marisol's. Which is actually on the end of the pier. That actually it's on the over the water part of the pier. Mm-hmm. And you've been there?
I have. And, sitting here looking at it, I'm like, is that? So maybe I misspoke. But I might be thinking of the wrong pier.
Oh.
Because I've been on I know for sure I've been on in Santa Barbara and Ventura. I've been on all these different
well, that's the thing.
Restaurants and piers. So now looking at it, I'm like, maybe I'm confused.
Well, that's the thing. If you're in Southern California and familiar, or if you're not, you start up the coast. You've got Santa Barbara, which is about 2.5 hours north of us, roughly, give or take. Mm-hmm. You've got the Santa Monica Pier.
Yep.
Then about an hour north
Santa
of
Barbara.
us. What's that?
Santa Barbara.
Yeah, so Santa Barbara, which is about 2.5 hours north of us or so, is the Santa Barbara Pier. About an hour north of us is the Ventura Pier. Then as you come down the coast, which is about just 6 miles up the road, you've got, which is the way we're facing, you've got the Malibu Pier. Mm-hmm. Then you've got right behind us the Santa Monica Pier. Mm-hmm. Then Venice actually had a pier at one point, but it's been washed away and taken down, so it's no longer there. But then you go down the coast, and you've got the Manhattan Beach Pier. You've got the Redondo Beach Pier. I think that's still there. You've got the Seal Beach Pier, and I think Newport Beach has a pier. So every beach community, as you go down the coast, has a pier, or at least had a pier at one point, depending upon whether they preserved it and kept it from the weather. Because our Santa Monica Pier here, at one point in the early 80s, a big storm surge came through and took down 1/3 of the pier. And that actually is the pier that has the portion that the restaurant's on now.
Right.
So they had to rebuild it.
Right. And this is the beginning or the end of Route 66, the famous Route 66. So you get on the I-10 from here, and you can go all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, coast to coast on the famous Route 66.
We like to think of it as the beginning.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be the end of anything.
Right.
We're going to be the start of it.
We are the start.
We're the start of it.
We are the beginning and the end. Let's just say that.
That's right. In fact, right up here, not too far, is the just a few hundred feet away is the iconic sign,
the neon sign
that is on the neon sign that says Santa Monica Pier, and that was erected in 1940. That's actually the official start of the I-10 Route 66, and then it goes all the way across.
A lot of movies have been filmed on the pier behind us.
Have you seen The Sting, 1973?
Yes.
See, I've never seen that, but that was here. Have you seen Fletch with Chevy Chase?
Yes.
That was here.
Yep.
Let's see, what else? I know there was a small clip with Sandra Bullock in The Net.
I didn't see that one.
That's actually okay movie. It's interesting because it is actually the beginning. Okay, so we talked about The Social Dilemma, and all that spine and stuff. The Net is actually kind of the beginning of all that stuff. They talk about a software, so you should check it out.
I should check it out.
It's actually pretty good. But they have a thing here.
Yep. Music videos. I think Miley Cyrus had a music video here at one time. All kinds of stuff has been filmed here. TV shows.
The Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
I think NCIS Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Iron Man, the movie. Forrest Gump.
Yes.
When he's running. That's why they actually have a Forrest Gump restaurant.
Bubba Gump's.
Bubba Gump's, yep.
He was running on the pier or the beach in the movie.
I think he came. I think he came to the pier. I think they showed the pier because he was running all over the place.
Right.
And so I think they showed the pier. I don't think he actually ran on it.
I don't remember
they kind of ran
that
by
part
it
of it.
or
I've
something.
seen that movie several times, but I don't remember.
He runs everywhere, and then he just stops in the middle of nowhere. Decides to go
because he
back
was
home.
Done.
In the middle of nowhere. Why don't you be done back in Greenbow, Alabama? Why don't you be done in Wyoming?
Why'd you stop? I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. So a lot of cool things to see out here at the pier. We like it because it's the beach. It is a little cooler here today, in case you didn't realize it.
It is like the Arctic out here. It's like 60 degrees, but it's freezing.
You got the wind chill, and I don't think it's quite 60, to be honest. I think the high was supposed to be 63, and the sun isn't out. It's overcast, kind of a cloudy day, and so the wind and the wind chill, I think it might be 59. I'm going 59.
I'll go with that.
And you could tell it's actually kind of chilly because I'm actually wearing long pants.
Yeah.
I would not be at the beach.
Ask me how many shirts I have on.
You look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow.
I'm wearing 3 shirts plus a sweater and this other sweater.
And we've called in heaters.
And I have one more sweater in my bag that I'm going to pull out.
Heaters are being called in
for the next episode.
And it looks like the lifeguards are doing something over there. Helicopter, Coast Guard.
Training.
Coast Guard can come bust us. Hey, but anyways, we can be thankful because we are actually here in a place like Los Angeles, Southern California, where we can actually come to the beach anytime we want.
Yes.
And the pier behind us sits 1,600 feet long.
Yep.
And it's just a little, I guess, even though it's iconic, it's 1,600 feet of what we can look at and be appreciative for, which is that Southern California lifestyle.
Yep.
It encompasses fun with all the attractions, food, which we really enjoy, being able to walk out over the ocean and see the swells.
Yep.
And
love that.
it's just kind of the whole iconic thing to Southern California, and that's something that we can be thankful for. It is Thanksgiving season, the time for to be thankful, and so there's a lot of things that if we really take a look, even in hard times, we can be thankful for and grateful for. Now, I know you like definitions.
I love definitions.
So according to the dictionary...
I love that you're giving me definitions now.
Thanks was defined as an expression of gratitude. So then what do? We naturally look at gratitude and find the definition of gratitude.
Exactly.
And gratitude says it's the readiness to show appreciation for and return kindness to somebody that did something for you.
Right. So gratitude is deeper than thankfulness.
Yes.
It is a deeper step.
And so when you take a look at that, it's really an attitude that goes beyond just something casual. It really becomes, you like to talk about character traits, it becomes a character trait.
It does.
To be thankful and to have gratitude.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is, you like to talk about biblical things. Giving thanks used 174 times in the Bible. 102 in the Old Testament, 72 in the New Testament.
Wow. Look at you.
So we can be thankful less in the New Testament. We have to be so gratitudeful. We have to be so grateful. That's Old Testament stuff. But when you think of this time of year, Thanksgiving, gratitude, thankfulness, what kind of comes to mind?
Well, let me go back to your definitions. We can be thankful for a lot of things. Like, I'm thankful that I have these sweaters because it's really cold out here. I'm thankful that we can, come to the beach, come to the ocean, and just get away. I'm thankful that, the holidays are coming because we can get out the decorations, hopefully spend time with family. Gratitude, like you said, is a deeper step. And so it's an attitude of appreciation. And so while I appreciate that I have sweaters, to keep me warm, it's the attitude of appreciation is a choice. And it's, and you said the attitude of appreciation for something, right?
Yeah, it could be the readiness to show appreciation for.
Right, and then give it back.
And then to return kindness.
And to return the kindness. Yeah, and so that's a little bit of a deeper thing because we can be grateful. Like you said, I don't remember the address of this verse in the Bible, but to be grateful in all things. And it doesn't say grateful for all things. It says grateful in all things. And we have a tendency to think that, like, if things aren't going well, then we're not going to be grateful. And I'm not grateful for the cold right now, but I'm grateful in the cold because I have, provisions with me. I'm not grateful for COVID, but we can be grateful in COVID that we have certain resources, that we have, maybe we have family or friends or those other things. So we can be grateful for things in a situation, but we're certainly not grateful for cancer or for rape or for, lockdowns. We're not grateful for things because there's bad things that are happening. And then we think, oh gosh, I can only be grateful when things are going well, or I can only be grateful when the sun is out. No, we can be grateful in a situation. I'm grateful that I was on the wake up list. I'm grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful that I get to do something, that I enjoy. So there's a difference between thankfulness and gratefulness. It's a level of choice. It's a level of decision for seeking out those things that are good in the middle of something that's dark or scary or bad or, whatever. We can still find things in that situation and choose to have an attitude of appreciation, for those little things, and then to spread it to someone else.
See, I'm actually thankful for the cold.
Why is that?
Because it's hot here 364 days out of the year. We can do with one day of cold, frigid temperatures, because then it makes us appreciate,
yes,
which is recognizing good qualities. We can appreciate the heat.
And can I just give context to the people that are calling us absolute wusses right now? Not too long ago, it was like, 116, yes. 117?
Yeah.
It was freaking hot. So, it is so hot out here most of the time that our blood is, super thin. And then when it gets to 59, we feel like it's the Arctic.
I have a cousin who lives in Arizona, and it's always 120.
Yep.
When it gets down to 90,
he's cold. They're putting on their
freezing
jackets.
Cold.
Yeah.
So that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with gradients. My family from Minnesota, they're below zero, and in the past when they used to come out here when I was younger for the holidays, New Year's, for example, because my grandparents lived right down the street from Colorado Boulevard where the parade went, they'd want to come out here. It'd be in the 60s. They'd be in shorts.
Yep.
And T-shirts.
Yep. And we'd be freezing.
Because it's below zero.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. So when you take a look at 120, 110, whatever, and you drop down to 50, even if you take 190, you're dropping 40, 50 degrees.
I know.
That's a huge swing. Even in Vegas, people get chilled because it gets from 100, 110, 120 down to 70 or 80,
And that's cold.
And you got the wind chill factor going on here today, too. We're sitting here on the beach.
It's breezy.
You got the breeze, so back off.
Yeah. So if you're thinking that we're wusses, we are.
Back off.
Because it's just hot out here all the time.
So when you recognize good qualities, you're appreciating something. And so for me, I appreciate the cold right now because I like it. I never get to experience much. But so there was, so we're talking about getting into the deeper issues. But one of the things that is hard for people, it's what to do. What are some things that you can do to be thankful? Because you mentioned things such as cancer, you mentioned things such as COVID, you mentioned things such as lockdown, things that are very negative in connotation to what we're used to, in connection to what we're used to, okay? Mm-hmm. And so in these things, how can we be thankful? And so one of the things that kind of was doing some research on and looking at that was kind of an overall theme, which even Dr. Irene mentioned when we were with her, was to say 3 good things that happen daily. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so when you wake up in the morning or whenever you feel like it, what are 3 good things that are going on in your life? Another thing is to say thanks to people, just in general. Hey, thank you for opening the door. Thank you for, doing this for me, or thank you for doing that. Just saying thank you to people for things they do.
Right.
Is a way to start to live that thankfulness, that appreciation. Look on the outward, not the inward. Oftentimes when we're on lockdowns or COVID, for example, we're looking at ourselves. Woe is us. Mm-hmm. But what are some other things that we could do outwardly, to be thankful? Mm-hmm. We could be thankful that we have a place on a cold day. Because here in Santa Monica, to be honest, you don't have to go very far to find a bunch of homeless people on the streets. On a very hot day, they have to suffer. On a very cold day, they have to suffer, where we get to go into climate-controlled areas, And so that's a way to be thankful, is look on the outside at the things that we have that we can take part in, and don't look so selfishly on the inside. Maybe change our perspective. Change the way we look at things. Is being locked down so terribly bad? Maybe if we change our focus, or getting a failing grade on a test, something more simplistic, mm-hmm. or my car breaking down, things like that can be really bad. But if we change our perspective on things, then maybe it changes how we are as far as, how to be thankful. And then check for silver linings. What are some silver linings? If you think about COVID off the top of my head, maybe you're spending more time with family. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. But silver linings. What
for some people it is.
maybe the rat race, of having to go. We talked about, going to clubs and stuff at one time and the rat race of having to race home on a Friday night to go out and hit the clubs and get there before the table's taken so we get the best bottle service, or, racing to the beach to get the best prime spot, But instead, maybe this is the silver lining of who we're with, the time we get to spend, the money we're saving because we're not going out, stuff like that. So if people aren't aware of how can I become thankful, maybe those are just a few things that can start to get you into a spirit of Thanksgiving and a spirit of being thankful and stuff like that, instead of just going about, well, what should I do? What should I do?
Yeah. It reminds me of that story when a guy was moving to a new town, and he's going down the road, and he comes across this old man sitting on the edge of this town, and he says, hey, I'm thinking about moving. What kind of people live here in this town? And the old man says, well, what kind of people were in the town that you're coming from? And he says, oh, they were mean, they were cranky, they complained all the time, they were taking advantage of people, and I just want to get out. And the old man says, well, you'll find those kind of people here too. And so he goes along, and he comes to another town, and I'm probably messing up the story. He goes to another town, and there's an old guy sitting there, and he's like, what kind of people are in this town? And the guy says, the old man says, well, what kind of people were in the town that you came from? And this guy says, people were nice, they smiled, they served one another, they congregated and had a good time together. There's a lot of community. And the old man says, well, you'll find those kind of people here too. So, like you said, it's about what we look for, because we're going to find both. We're going to find both the good and the bad no matter where we go. We're going to find the good and the bad in every situation. But it's what we seek out is what we're going to find. And we have to change our perspective to seeking out the good and seeking out the positive. It's there in every situation. Even the darkest of situations, there's always something that is the silver lining, or there's always a good, somewhere that we can focus on.
One of the simplest things that I found out or discovered while kind of doing some research for this type of topic was that smile. If you smile, just the simplicity of a smile can put you in a mood of being thankful, because it changes your demeanor, changes your personality.
Yep.
Turn that frown upside down makes all the difference in the world.
There was a girl at the Mid-State Fair several years ago. She was selling popcorn, and I walked up to the booth, and she immediately had this huge, smile, like she was glowing, and it took me aback. And it, totally disarmed. I was like, man, she was just glowing. I was like, wow.
Did she recognize you? Hey, it's Tara from Two Steps Ahead Podcast. She's here buying popcorn from me.
No, but I was just like, the smile, it was effective.
Now, was it infectious? Did you smile then?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and everybody's feeling better, right?
I did. And I even told my husband, I'm like, wow, did you see that girl smile? Man, that was crazy.
Well, I think it's that misery loves company. We all are drowning in our sorrows. So we want people to be sorrowful with us, so we're going to seek that out.
Yep.
Or you talk about people that are successful. They only want to seek out other successful people to be around.
Right.
And so your influences, so who is influencing you? So if there's people that are grumpy and grouchy and you want to be around them, then you're probably going to end up grumpy, grouchy, and unthankful for things.
Yep.
Whereas if you are around people that are grateful for... It's like this. It's like the more you have, the more tendency you can become unthankful for things. It's like the less you have, it's almost like the more grateful you become, because you have less and you're thankful for more of that, if that makes sense. It's almost like backward
it totally
thinking.
does. Because when I went to Uganda several years ago, they had very little, and they were so grateful, very grateful people. And I came home and, walked into Walmart for the first time, and I almost wanted to throw up, because it's all this excess, people complaining, people, it's crazy.
You think of Black Friday and people go and fighting over the big screen TVs or the, whatever's on sale, the new computer or whatever.
Yep.
And you think about it, it's like, okay, first of all, Black Friday, which falls usually in most normal years on the Friday after Thanksgiving. So we just got done with a day where we were supposed to be thankful and grateful for everything, and now we're fighting over material possessions.
Exactly. Have you ever done Black Friday?
No, I refuse.
It is. I've done it once, and I will never do it again. It was frightening.
Yeah.
Like, people were actually running, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I should be running!" Like, people are like running through the store, and like they think that we're going to miss out. It was so like.
The only thing I did one year, years and years ago, the local mall opened, I think, at midnight, or had the ability to open at midnight. So because we were up and bored, we went to the mall.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a frenzied thing because, I mean, nobody's standing in line for Hot Topic.
Right.
Or whatever. You know, nobody's standing in line for My Children's Place or whatever, you know, JCPenney. You know, so that's not the hot ticket item. Although you did find some cool stuff there. Oh, pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Buy one, get 10 free. Okay.
Right.
You know, so those kind of things were kind of actually, oh, hey, let's grab this, let's grab that. But no, I would never do. In fact, one year I went and I talked to people that were intense, sleeping, you know, because I went into Best Buy probably like the Tuesday of. Okay. And for me, I understand the savings, but I'm grateful for the fact that everyone waits till Black Friday, because then I can go into these stores and get whatever I need prior to all the sales, right? And so they're empty. The stores are empty because everyone's waiting for Black Friday. So it's kind of like an opportunity that if you like need something, you can go in and get it. And me being, you know, with the radios and the podcasts and all that for years, you know, Best Buy and things like that were always places to go. But if I needed something, I could get into these stores without the crowds. Because I didn't care about Black Fridays. But yeah, the Black Fridays thing was crazy. So I was talking to a guy, and there's people standing in line or tents in line for the entire week.
Oh,
Tuesday,
my gosh.
Monday.
Oh my gosh.
And they missed the entire Thanksgiving holiday.
Wow.
Which, you know, it's fine for them. But this was how they spent their week off. Because, you know, nowadays it's more common, instead of just getting Thursday, Friday off, people get the whole week off, depending on their business.
And now Black Friday is not even, this year, Black Friday is the whole month of November.
Yeah, and it's a lot of online stuff.
Yep.
But people would sit and waste their entire week, in my opinion, to sit in line or to camp out in front of a Best Buy or a Target. There was one night, the night before Thanksgiving Eve, so the night of Thanksgiving, drove around to the different stores, and yeah, you'd see these long lines of people waiting, and I'm thinking, wow, what kind of, you really have to waste this much time just to grab something,
right?
Because you're saving a few bucks, you know. And so that drives me crazy. But it's funny how the day before you're being grateful and thankful, the next day you're like hating each other and like ripping things out of each other's arms because you need that big screen TV. Another thing that's interesting when you want to become thankful or start to practice it is you can do acts of service to others.
Yes.
That's a big way. I know a lot of people do it. What do you think about this? I know a lot of people do it at Thanksgiving time because they feel good about themselves and they want to do it. But it's almost like they take away from it because it's inward. I'm going to go help the homeless, and so it becomes about me, as opposed to becoming something that you do more regularly as an outward thing to help others. Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that, honestly, and I feel bad criticizing. I mean, like, you know, if you're going to help, that's fine. But I'm not a fan of people doing it once a year at Christmas or once a year, you know, at Thanksgiving. Because, I mean, I get the gesture, like, we want to make sure that everybody's taken care of, so we do need extra helpers on Thanksgiving and Christmas because there's more people to serve, to make sure that people, you know, like now there's, I saw on the news, there's cities that are distributing turkeys to make sure that everybody is taken care of, you know, on Thanksgiving, which is a really nice thing. And we do need extra volunteers, you know, when there's extra distribution going on. But, you know, there are people who do it at Thanksgiving and Christmas just to check it off the list. Like, okay, I did something good. Yeah, why can't we do those acts of service like all year long? And there are people that do. I mean, you know, the people that all year long that do things. But I think, I'm not a fan of the people that do it once a year and then they're like, oh yeah, I served at the homeless shelter. Like, where were you the other 11 months?
Well, it's almost like, again, you're doing it for yourself, and then if it doesn't go your way,
right?
Because oftentimes things don't go your way. I mean, maybe that there was a big, rush on turkeys, or you didn't have enough turkeys to give out, whatever, I don't know. And so, again, it's doing it for an outward purpose as opposed to inward. And it's more to this, and this is something that's, I think, more up your alley. Thankfulness is a spiritual trait, a character trait. It also helps give you empathy towards others. So it takes that, when you're grateful and thankful, it takes the onus off of you. So like you said, it's deeper, and it puts it on somebody else, because you're thankful that, like you said, you might be thankful that you have warm clothes, a place to stay, a house to live, food to eat, and stuff like that. But then if you take it to a deeper level, you will now then start to be grateful for the things that you might be able to provide for other people.
Yeah, so gratitude is more of an appreciation for what we've been given, and so therefore we want to give back. And thankfulness is just like, I'm glad, the sun is out, which I wish it was. But, so gratitude gratitude is a character trait because it's a choice in an opposite situation. So we don't often think about, thankfulness is like, I'm thankful for the food sitting in front of me, on the table. That's good. That's easy. Because you're hungry, there's food sitting in front of you, you're really thankful that you get to eat. That's easy. That's not a character trait. Gratitude is when you're feeling that appreciation for what you've been given, and then you want to give back because of it. And so that takes place in an opposite situation. So if you're hungry, like, how many times has this happened to you? It's happened to me, where I go into a restaurant or through a food line or something, and I'm starving. I've been waiting for it all day, and then there's a person outside that hasn't eaten and that needs food, and you're like, oh man, I was really looking forward to this, but I hand it over and like, here, would you like this? It's like, I'm starved, but it's like, no, this person doesn't have, anything, so I give it over and give it to them instead. So I think we have to look beyond the circumstances, and we have to look beyond, the superficial of what it is that we have, at the moment. And then be grateful. So, like, for example, we were talking the other day, I lead an online life group, and we were telling the story the other day. One of the ladies, their daughter died, and she donated her organs. And so during that process, there was things in there, like when her daughter was in the hospital, that she was really grateful for. She was really grateful for the nurse that came and sat with her, after her shift was over. And she was really grateful for the people from Donate Life, and she was really grateful for these little things that happened that just kind of like came out of nowhere. So she was really struggling in the death of her daughter, but there were little things to grateful, and that's a choice, because you have to choose to see them. They're always there, but you have to choose to see them. And so it's an appreciation, for what you've been given, and then, which is, life and, love and resources and all of that. And to choose to see like the little things that carry you along in that situation so that you don't sink. And then to give back. I think that's the difference, like for me, in those definitions between thankful and gratitude, gratefulness.
There was a story about a mom who lost an adult child, young, in the 20s, something like that, but an adult child. And, of course, the organ donations went out, and the heart went to somebody else. And so the mom, at some point, was able to, meet the recipient of her son's heart. And she asked, could I hear it? So she, goes up and puts her ear up against his chest, hears the heart, feels it. And, of course, it was extremely emotional for her. But one of the things she said was she was so grateful that, A, they found a recipient for it, but B, that his heart was still beating.
Right.
The fact that he helped save someone else's life, but the fact that the heart was still beating. So it was like twofold. She was grateful to help somebody else out, but also grateful that a part of her son was still alive.
Right.
And that's the type of struggle that I think we, have a hard time dealing with. I mean, we think about this. A lot of things happened this year that we didn't expect. That always happens. Well, things unexpectedly happen. But in a year of COVID, a year of the pandemic, a lot of things just for everyday people, a lost job, a lost opportunity to meet people. I don't know, a lost opportunity to maybe people thinking about moving, but now they can't, whatever the case may be. A lot of things were lost. And it's hard for us to sit back in those times and think about the good things that you have. But then on the flip side, when you really sit down and you look at it, there are things that you really could be grateful for. There are things that there's opportunities that are created. One of the things that my daddy's a senior citizen, so he got the opportunity to go into the stores, grocery stores and stuff during senior citizen hour, old folks hour. And so he was able to buy stuff, but then also buy stuff for other people, because by the time, this was back in the great toilet paper pandemic where it's disappeared, right?
And it's starting again.
I guess so.
It's starting all over again.
And so he was able to help people out by getting there early to be able to do that. And, people were grateful for that, because it was an opportunity for them to receive something that was an essential that when they go, it's not there anymore.
Right.
Because apparently, a respiratory illness requires a lot of toilet paper. I don't get that, but whatever. It's probably because when you cough, you scare the poop out of everybody, and so you need the extra, toilet paper. I don't know. But so there's opportunities. So for him to be able to help others, people were really appreciative of that. Stop hoarding the stuff. Jeez. Eat less. Drink more.
I don't get it. I don't understand why people are hoarding toilet paper.
It's a respiratory issue. And you didn't need it all summer long either. All of a sudden you need it again.
I know. What is happening?
Settle down.
It is, please stop hoarding.
Another thing, okay, this might be helpful. If you are thankful, being thankful can boost your well-being and success.
It does.
And so maybe if you're thankful, you'll stop hoarding stuff. Watch the TV show Hoarders.
I know. Oh gosh.
No, but it helps your well-being, your health.
Itself. It does. It feeds on itself, because when you start to recognize the things that are good, or recognize the things that are a blessing in a dark situation, and you train yourself to look for those, then you're going to see them more and more. You're going to appreciate more and more, and then you're going to want to share it and give back to other people. And so, there's always, like, if you look at the people around you, like, there's people that handle things in a really negative way. They complain a lot. They talk about all the problems that are there. They feel like they got to solve all the problems. Like, oh, this is so bad. This is so bad. This is so bad. And then there's other people who handle the exact same situation. Like, you know what? We're going to get through this. There's hope. Not like the foo-foo, just positive thinking stuff, but real, looking at the nuggets of the good things that are coming. Like, my neighbor brought me some food, or I got to help my neighbor by bringing them food, or whatever it is. But when we focus on those things, it feeds on it. Whichever way you go, it feeds on itself. And that muscle becomes stronger. The gratitude muscle becomes stronger, or the complaining muscle becomes stronger.
Yeah, you have to work it out, right? Anything we do, you work out your muscles. It's going to start. It might be painful at first, but if you work it out, it's going to get stronger and better and healthier.
Yeah.
If you work your mind, stronger, better, healthihier. If you don't, you get lazy and fat, or your mind starts to go to mush and things like that. So what way are you going to go?
Yeah.
Because I like the quote, or it wasn't a quote, but it was more of the theme of how things were going. So being thankful boosts your wellness and your success, but it makes you feel, you get more positive emotions.
Yep.
It makes you, or helps you relish the good experiences.
Yep.
Obviously improves your health. You can deal with adversity better, and you can build stronger relationships. Because like you said, when you walk to the town and what kind of people are here, well, it's negative people. Well, I don't want to go there. You go here, what kind of people are here? Well, it's positive people. Okay, I'll go there. And so you want to be around those people that are positive, grateful, thankful.
No, it's what were the people like in the town that you came from? And he says, you're going to find those people here too.
Right.
So if we are used to looking for the negative people, that's who we're going to run into in life, and that's who we're going to find. If we're used to looking for, positive, happy people, that's who we're going to find in life, moving forward, because both of them live among us all the time. But we seek out, we have a tendency to either wallow in our grief or whatever it is that we're going through, or we keep moving. Just like Bob, like the book that I wrote, like all 4 of his limbs were amputated when he was 9 years old. I mean, can you imagine like going through life without arms or legs? And he is the most positive. He never complains. He's the most positive person I've ever met. And it's not fake. It's not like just foo-foo, like, trying to make himself feel better. He genuinely is a hopeful guy, nice guy, positive guy, doesn't complain, does everything that he wants to do with everything he's got. And so it's like, it's a choice. It's a mindset. We're either like, we're going to choose to live or we're going to choose to die, right? Just like on Shawshank Redemption, get busy living or get busy dying. It's one or the other. There's no like in between.
So you're going to be a Brooks or you're going to be a Red? Get busy living.
Right?
But that's it. Whatever we focus on, we move towards.
Yeah.
We attract.
Exactly.
And so that's what we got to. So if we focus on the positive, we're going to move towards positive.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on the negative, we're going to focus on the negative, which of course then affects our quality of life.
It does. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. I have not read it. It's on my shelf. But I have it. And then I was listening to a podcast the other day and she brought it up in the podcast about the body keeps the score. And it's so true that, all the negativity that we harbor in our bodies, it has to do something, it just does a lot of damage to our physical body.
Gotta be like Frozen. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. The other thing that I found interesting was, when you have an attitude of thankfulness and gratitude and you combine them together, it also can strengthen and ensure your faith. Because you're sitting there, and again, when you're going towards the positive and you're going towards the things that you're looking for, what you have faith in and what you believe in can be strengthened by it because you can be more confident in that faith. So, we talked about it earlier. The Bible talks about, giving thanks, 174 times or something like that. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so if that's what you're focusing on, that giving thanks, like you mentioned earlier, then your faith is going to be ensured because you're focusing on the positive. It's kind of like when, Peter was walking on water. As long as he was focused on Jesus, he was fine. Once he took his eyes off, he started to sink.
Right.
Okay. And so that's the type of thing. So, when you're focused on that positive, whatever it might be, chances of you going that direction and avoiding pitfalls, because it says you can learn how to deal with adversity better, how to problem solve better, because your mind is in a better state. You're not so down. I mean, how many times you sit there and you're in a down state and your things are struggling and it just seems like things are piling on. But are they really? Was that just your perspective? You talked about in another podcast. You talked about pretense. Is the pretense, the perspective? Does it seem as things are piling on because we have a negative attitude towards it,
right?
Or is it really?
Right. And fear plays into a lot of that too, because you mentioned the amount of times thankfulness is in the Bible. Fear, do not fear or fear not, is mentioned 365 times in the Bible. So one per day. Fear not, fear not, fear not, fear not, fear not. Why? Because we get so fearful we could see what's right in front of us, and it scares us. The economy scares us. The presidency scares us. The COVID scares us. The job loss, scares. Everything it's scary, right? Fear not, fear not, fear not.
That's the last thing I have down here. Reduces fear.
It does.
It gives you peace of mind. It's funny you say that because, perspective. You're talking about perspective and pretense. We are taught all along in life that we need to save for a rainy day.
Yep.
Put away for later. Save later.
Yep.
So somebody asked me, because I've been out of work now for a while, and there really isn't anything opening up immediately in my expertise areas, radio, broadcasting, education, stuff like that, because it's all being affected. iHeartMedia, is just laying off more and more people on a daily basis. You see it across the country. They call it reduction in force.
Yep.
Schools are still closed, although there's starting to be some things where you're starting to see opportunities, but they won't be around until the next school year.
Right.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff like that. Okay, so I was fortunate enough to be able to have a little bit of a savings put aside from the college I worked at, and it was while I was there part-time. And so it became kind of this dead account, just sitting there.
Yep.
And so, what to do with it, I don't know. It's just kind of sitting there. And of course, everybody tells you you should do something, invest it, you should do it this, put it in that, buy Bitcoin, all kinds of nonsense. And so when COVID hit, the opportunity for me to yank it out and live off of it became an option. And so I started to consider that. And everyone was telling me, well, that's probably a bad idea. You need to save it for a rainy day. I'm thinking context. This is a rainy day, people. This is what we save for,
if
right?
If this isn't a rainy day, then I don't know what is.
so if I listen to other people, which is fine, it's sound advice, and I get it, but I'm also thinking this is the rainy day we're supposed to save for.
Yeah.
And so then I yanked it out, and that's what I'm using. So again, it's kind of like when you look at it, and so my perspective was, okay, I'm grateful that I have this, because I can now use it. Mm-hmm. And my perspective wasn't necessarily a negative one. Yeah, you want to save it for another time, but this is also why we've been told all along to save up.
Right.
Because this is the time.
Right.
And these are unusual circumstances on top of it. It's not just like blowing it away, because in California, compared to other places, we are now looking at more lockdowns. We're looking at more, curfews. We're looking at more restrictions. Restaurants now have to be at 25%. As opposed to 50% of your outdoor, whatever. So things are getting worse, if we want to say that, as far as the economic
all over the
perspective.
country, yeah.
And so it's like, this is it. So if you take that perspective and you change it, and you're thankful for what you have, and I have this, so I'm going to use it. And my perspective on it isn't a negative one; it's a positive one. So for me personally, it works out fine.
Right.
Everybody else might tell me differently, but you know what? That's your opinion. And you do for you according to what you want to do. But for me, in my situation, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And so now I haven't been able to, had the negative, the stress, and everything that you might endure that other people are truly going through, because I was in a position to have something that I was able to draw from. And then my perspective on it, though, was better because I realized that this is what we are saving for. We were doing it. So my perspective was a little different. I might not get to be 70, 75 to retire on it. I might not make it through this. I don't know. So this for me is a time to use it. And I'll worry about the future if I should get that far in the future. But that's
hope you do.
Well, yeah, that was just my perspective on it. And it was kind of interesting how, the mind, if you, like you say, you change your pretense, you change your perspective on something, you're thankful that you've got your place to live. You've got your food to eat. You've got, your family still around. You've got these little things. And what more do you really need? Because everything else just becomes excess. Mm-hmm. Someone once told me when I was young, money's just a matter of zeros. The more you have, the more you spend. Mm-hmm. You could be look how many millionaires, athletes, whomever, that lost it all. Yeah. You think to yourself, how in the world?
How do you do that? Yeah, because they just spend.
I worked with a guy, Michael Thompson. He's the Lakers radio analyst on their broadcast. And he was telling us one time, because he's a world champion, and so obviously he's been successful in the finances department. But he says it's one of the things that you have to really be careful, because everybody will come to you and hit you up for money. I want money for this investment. I need money for this. I need this. And when you say no to people, it's hard because you have to be financially responsible for yourself and your family first. And sometimes you just have to tell people no because it's not financially responsible to help everybody out. Right. And for him, because of the character he has, it's hard for someone like that to say no. Whereas other people, but yet he hasn't had that financial crisis, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas other people, you think of any athlete that's lost his money, they just went and they just blew it because they wanted to be the center of the attention. They had all these hanger-ons. Mm-hmm. And then once the money's gone, kind of like the prodigal son. Once it's gone, what do you have left?
Well, there's a lot of coaches now, and for the football, the NFL, because they had a lot of these guys were getting recruited from college, and then all of a sudden they were making millions of dollars and didn't know how to handle it. And so now they have like financial advisors and coaches for them to help them manage their money, because they just, they had nothing, and now they have like too much, and and so they have to learn how to handle that. Otherwise it is gone in a matter of moments.
How many times you see people that win the lottery, they're broke 2 years later.
Exactly.
Or they're given that house on that TV show, The Home Makeover,
yep.
or
and
Oprah gives them a house or something. Yeah. And then it's whatever. Because people don't know how to, appreciate what they've got, and they can't handle it. And then it goes back to even then just having gratitude to know that somebody gave this to you and to be thankful for it. But it's something I think that we take for granted, and we think, oh, hey, can you pass the mashed potatoes? Thank you. Okay, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than way easy. Deeper than that. When you really get down to it, it goes beyond just saying thanks to somebody. It's your action, it's your character, it's your trait. And if you really look at it and examine yourself and you take it, it can really change you.
It does. It changes the trajectory of where you're going. It changes the path, because you're looking for that next opportunity. You're looking for the next little piece of advice or something to hang on to. It's like a stepping stone, right? It pulls you through whatever situation that you're in. Those little pieces of things to be grateful for are the stepping stones to, like, okay, I'm getting through this awful situation. This gave me enough fuel for today. This gave me enough fuel for the next day. And it feeds, that's the part that keeps you going in those dark times, is those little seeds of things to be grateful for, those positive moments, those positive interactions. And the opposite, when we don't recognize those and we don't train ourselves to recognize those, and then instead we just start getting really, really good at complaining and blaming, then nothing good happens in our life. We just go downward, and then we get more of the same. We get more of the negativity, more bad things that happen, more woe is me.
I'm actually humored by the fact that the last podcast was like 1,000 degrees at the Hollywood sign, and it was so hot, and we're baking. And then, like, the next show, we're here, and it is like, there's like penguins running around. There's no sun. The fog or the marine layer has moved in.
It's worse,
and it is like absolute extremes.
It's getting colder.
Yes, it is.
Like it's
absolute extremes.
Yes.
In weather from one show to the next.
I know.
Unbelievable.
And I think my hand that's holding the microphone, it's stuck.
You're like turning blue.
It's stuck there.
Like
I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it away. And
but I have
to take it home with me and drive with the microphone. It's frozen.
I'm just sitting here thinking about that. I'm just like, dude, it is so. The contrast between the two is utterly amazing.
It is.
From bright sunny.
Yeah.
Now, we did have some cloud overhead, so if you watch it, we're up at the Hollywood sign. In fact, we've got a new...
it was pretty warm, though.
It was just the last episode that came out. But yeah, it was so hot. I was sweating. I was baking in the sun.
Yes. And now I'm freezing.
And now we're here, complete overcast, no sun, at the beach. And it is actually quite frigid. And everybody that's around is dressed for the cold.
I was going to say, are they all wearing...
they're all like in pants
parkas
and stuff.
Yes.
It's absolutely amazing just how different it can be. That was always the joke in the Midwest was, if you don't like the weather, wait a couple minutes, it'll change.
Yep.
It doesn't change a whole lot here. That's why I think it's more dramatic.
Yes.
Because it's like...
That's why we have weathercasters that say storm 2020, and it's just a little drizzle.
Storm watch, and they're all out in their, slickers and stuff standing in,
they're posted on every corner in town, waiting for to report on the rain. And then you go to some place like Colorado that just has blizzards, all the time, and they don't even talk, oh, yeah, it's going to be snowing today. I'm like, that's it? That's your weather forecast?
We get the weather people that stand on the street corner and someone has a hose and shoots the hose on them so it looks like it's raining. It's like I say, it's storming here in Southern California.
Central casting. Can you please come and make my shot look more stormy?
But on that note, we are here at the Santa Monica Pier. Speaking of storms,
are we complaining or are we grateful?
No, actually, I'm actually grateful for it. But I'm just observing. It's observation, really, that to really get two extremes,
yeah,
like that, and just it's just unbelievable, the extremes that we've gone through. Because like I said, I was thinking about the heat and how hot it was. And I just remember how sweaty I was and how uncomfortable it was from the heat and taking that all in. And then my concern there was, okay, am I going to get sunburned being out in the sun? Stuff like that.
Here, I'm like, brought the sunscreen.
Here I'm going to get like, frostbite.
Yeah, we're going to have to start.
Hypothermia is going to set in.
Hypothermia.
Actually, it's not that bad. Maybe for her it is, but it is quite chilly.
Yeah, I'm shivering.
But hey, we're here at the Santa Monica Pier, the iconic Santa Monica Pier, and doing a show on gratitude, thankfulness, hopefully at this time of season. All times of season, but maybe this time of season you take a look at yourself and check yourself on that trait, and maybe it will change your perspective, especially this time. We got a lot of people calling for canceling family get-togethers for the holidays and stuff. But
what do you think about that?
I am going to get together with my family because, like I said, my parents are a little bit older, and they might not be around.
That's longer. What I'm thinking too. I don't know. We're going to try and do it outside.
Yeah, like I said, be creative. We've talked about things in the past about being creative.
Yeah.
Doing something different. Maybe starting new traditions. Maybe, thinking outside the box.
Yep.
Maybe not being so complex. Do you really have to cook a big turkey? Or can you go get some turkey sandwiches? I'm just, thinking outside the box off the top of my head. I mean, there's some other things that you can do. Can you come to the beach and sit at the beach?
Yeah.
And have your, social gathering at the beach outside? There's things you can do. So I'm one that is like, you know what? I know I'm healthy. I know I'm not going to give my parents anything because I've been home. And so we're going to get together and we're going to have our holidays, and you guys do what you feel like, but I'm gonna have the holidays because we just never know what's gonna come down the pike.
I know.
So I'm gonna live my life.
I know.
And that's it.
Yep. We don't know what tomorrow brings.
Nope. And I might even come down to the pier when it's warmer. But we are Two Steps Ahead Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Two Steps Ahead Podcast, TWO. Two Steps Ahead Podcast. There's a link in the bio. It's a link tree. Click it, and there's many options. You can go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you don't miss an episode on YouTube. If you subscribe, you get notifications. If you'd like to take something on the road with you, you can go to a SoundCloud and actually download it. Or if you'd like to just listen on your device, you can go to, there's links there for like Pandora, Spotify, iHeartMedia Podcast, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud. We're pretty much everywhere. Or you can just go to Google or Yahoo and search Two Steps Ahead Podcast, TWO, and we pop up. My personal Instagram is EidemRocks, EIDEMROCKS. You can check me out there. And then RadioWarp.com, live streaming radio station. We're on there on Mondays and Wednesdays, 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific time. So you can hear us in live, kind of live time, real time. You can download the app and take us with you. You can also hear some great music and other people's podcasts there as well. So it's a cool spot. Check it out. We can find you where?
I am on social media at Tara Hoke-Schiro, TARAHOKESCHIRO. And if you're on my Instagram, there's a link in my bio to go to my website, which has my blog, the video library for the podcast, the swag shop, all kinds of cool things to purchase in there as well.
And TaraShiro.com, right, is the website?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to go get some clam chowder and some hot chocolate and some coffee. And until then, you guys, thanks for listening. Do tell a friend. Take your passion. Make it happen. Let yourself be great. Be kind. And don't be an a-hole.
Thanks, guys.